Stock of the week. Welcome to my new series where I'll look at a stock which is very much in the news. This week we are going to be looking at Intel. So I've put it in here already. I click the button by magic. The various screens open up. I'm going to have to type it in. Intel's already in there. We're going to have to type it into here, and then I'm going to do the analysis for you for INTC. Now, why is it in the news? Well, at the time of recording, it's just gone up 8% in just one day alone. So, do I like it? Don't I like it? What are the risks and rewards you've got to think about with the stock? Now, this is one of the companies which I wrote about for my clients in May. Back in May, the question that I posed was, when it was sitting around 18, can it go up 100%? And I said, it's very high risk. You'd be nuts to think it's about to go up 100% within the year. It's gone up 100% within the year. And whilst I gave reasons why it could go up 100%, there was a lot of options activity and the like. I said, too much risk and volatility for me. And you can see on the chart why. Now, what's the next step up? Well, 55%. But look at that volatility. That's why, in the language of Dragon's Den or Shark Tank, I'm out. However, I want to analyze this for you so you can understand it. Some of you might say, nope, I want to be in it. Remember, you've got to think about the individual and the context. For me, my major job is to compare this to other companies I already own, where I can get similar returns without the volatility. I've got to look at my age. The fact that my job now for my family is not to mess it up, is to get that consistent growth in my pension without having roller coaster rides and messing it up. So whilst it might be suitable for others who are more than happy to go to that 55%, and if you are, and if you think that's your reward, then you've got a choice of either treating it like a trade or an investment. If you're going to treat it like a trade, then I suggest you'd look for a reward ratio of 2 to 1. When I interviewed some of the world's leading hedge fund managers for my first book, Mind of a Trader, the 2 to 1 ratio was common amongst those placing trades, people like Bill Lipschitz, global head of trading at Salomon Brothers, for instance. So you'd want that downside, if you're going to treat it like a trade, probably to sit around here. Okay, so you've got a 2 to 1. And quite frankly, the reason that would work on a risk basis is because if it's going to go up to 55%, i.e. all-time highs from current levels, give you a 55% return, it has no business going back down to 32. Now, for those of you thinking, wait a minute, it's too volatile, that doesn't work. Okay, 2 to 1 doesn't work, then don't do the trade. Your alternative, if you really must have it, is then to treat it as an investment. If it's an investment, then you're starting to think, well, if it drops these extra levels, I should be looking to buy more. Okay, get in now and buy more at those levels. But wait a minute, would you be comfortable buying more of this at those lower levels, knowing full well for a very long period of time, it can be at those low levels? If it fell all the way back to 19 again, not only has it had it in 2025, but it's had it in 2012 as well. So that would be par for the course. It would be normal. So if you can't feel comfortable with it as a trade or an investment, don't do it. Let's look at some more analysis. None of that's to say it won't go up to 55. It's the ride. And the problem with private investors is too often they gamble. They hear a name, see something on social media and think, well, I'll go for that. But they forget they've got to be able to ride the journey. And if it does indeed go down, they don't have a strategy. Am I a trader? Am I an investor? What am I? And then more of their capital is locked up, not earning. So when we look at Intel here in terms of the broader data, and zoom some of that in for you, what we find is that actually when you look at its competitors, you've got better valuations, better health, better dividends for companies like Qualcomm, Texas Instruments, ARM Holdings, Analog Devices. Now I happen to own Qualcomm, and I think I've got Analog Devices as well. So on a broad basis, it doesn't look great. So what's been pushing it forward? Well, there's been some Trump deals, but I'll come to the other reasons what's moved it forward and why it's still in my stock of the week. Stock of the week, a bit like Time Magazine's Man of the Year, doesn't mean it's one you got to buy. it means one you got to look at and learn from, and then make a decision whether you're buying or not. Well, earnings are forecast to grow 44%. That's partly because of various deals with big companies and thanks to Trump pushing them forward. That's still single individual events, and the volatility, as I mentioned, is what concerns me. You might say, well, no, it's a different company now. There's not going to be ongoing volatility going forward. Maybe, but like I've shown you with some of the other companies, I feel a bit safer with those. Price to earnings ratio, 1,000 times, that's just nuts. So some of these numbers, they don't have the general consistency I'd want on a discount cash flow basis, overvalued. So there's quite a few things which worry me. And as I mentioned before, the volatility, its volatility significantly more than for the industry as a whole. The industry, don't get me wrong, is volatile. When we look at this on Wolfram, what you see is this is volatile. Okay, it is a volatile company. In 20 days, it can move down 48%. That's likely to cause you panic. If a stock drops in 5 days 40%, you are going to panic. And the problem with that is it's not a quick rebounder. It is not an obvious candidate for buy the dip. The reason it's not an obvious candidate for buy the dip is because it can have prolonged periods of time. Let me move myself out of the way, as it were. Prolonged periods of time where it remains down 59% and so on. We want companies whose stock prices, or the stock prices of which, historically are right side skewed. There's very few companies like that. It's a shorthand way to cheat, okay? And this one doesn't meet that test for me. I'm not saying it can't go up. If you put a gun to my head and said create a trade, I would. It's the 2-to-1 trade I just mentioned to you. And some will do very well with it. But just because there's different ways of making money, I don't need to be in all of them. When we look at the news on the company and ask ourselves, well, okay, what's happened? There's an Apple rumor. Apple going back to using Intel chips. Okay, that could be one of the key reasons why. Well, everybody wants to please King Trump, and that's fine in many ways. There's nothing wrong with the company. I think Intel's been one of those which, for a long period of time, should just have done significantly better than it generally has done. If we look at the news on it, that Apple rumor really hits up the news. Trump administration to take equity stake in former Intel CEO's chip startup as well. Presumably they're going to marry and buy off each other and do a wonderful little virtuous circle of purchases and so forth. So essentially, what does that tell us about all of this? Well, bottom line, like I said, are you a trader or an investor? Have you got the reward to risk stomach? Have you got the volatility stomach? And you're really taking a lot of risk for that potential gain when there's alternatives. Have you considered the alternatives? These are all the things that need considering when you're looking at this week's stock of the week, which is Intel. Now, if you like this new series that I'm doing, please comment, save, like, share. The reason for that is if you do that, then more people will see these videos. If more people see it, I'll do these. My target normally is, as you know from my other videos, 3,000 views. If I don't get 3,000 views on a video, then I'll think, okay, this is a series people aren't interested in, don't want to do these. Okay? So the algorithm, the way TikTok and YouTube work is this. On TikTok, if you save the video, if you forward it, if you republish it, that's the highest weighting. Gets it to most viewers. If you comment, still good because I get feedback and it still bumps it up higher, but it's less important than if you do some of the other more high intent things. Okay? With YouTube, comment, it's not that important, but if you subscribe, like, all of those other things, they do bump it up. Please forward it to others, maybe on social media. That probably has one of the highest weightings. So if you share it on TikTok, etc. Thank you very much. If I see 3,000 views, I know, hey, by popular demand, we're going to continue doing these. If we don't, then we know, hey, nobody's interested. That's fine. We'll move on. We'll try other formats. When I used to do my show on Bloomberg Television, I would come up with program formats, ideas, titles. I'd pitch them to Catherine Oliver, who was global head of television at the time. And it was so much fun because she'd break them down and I'd pitch 4 or 5, 6 or 7 ideas. And I think this one sits well into what we would have done back then. It's a lot easier to get the graphics up now than in the old days when on TV you had to upload and to save the graphics, and you had to upload them as graphics onto a computer, and you had to fire them with little keys. Well, some of that hasn't changed. Anyway, thank you very much. And as I said, have a look at all this. Have a look at my campaign for $1million.com to teach 1 million people how to add an extra million to their portfolios across their lifetimes in their pensions, for all those people anywhere in the world, Canada, UK, America, Australia, who are fed up with how pension fund managers are underperforming. If you want to know more about me, you can find out all about me from the links in the bio or alpeshpatel.com/links. Follow me on LinkedIn as well. Thank you.